Hey friend, JB here, sharing with you the Proverbs, the wisdom that the Lord has for us. And we're not stopping, we're marching on. We're in chapter 17 of the book of Proverbs, Solomon's wisdom, right? We're in the Proverbs chapter 17, so let's do this. Let's get into it. Let's dig in. What are a couple things that were sticking out for me? The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold. Now, the crucible, you'll learn in other areas of literature, is this place where it's very hot and where you're going to get different kinds of metals that form an alloy, or perhaps you're trying to smelt out some of the other things that are not part of your metal, such as simple just different debris that might have gotten in there. Different levels of temperature, metal will melt, and you're able to pull off some of the impurities. But interesting, I didn't know this, that the furnace was for gold. I wonder what that's about these days. And the Lord tests hearts. Well, that's part of the testing, is what we're talking about, the crucible and the furnace. It can separate the impurities, and it can basically cause a person who's looking for the purest gold, the purest silver, to know that they have what they have. And the Lord testing our hearts, that relates really well together, because we are being tested. Our heart is in a crucible that God is trying to understand. If are we, and he knows, but really he's trying to help us understand, are we following in God's footsteps? Second verse that I'm thinking of, it's number 5 actual verse, but whoever mocks the poor insults his maker. Now we've got to call ourselves true, because a lot of times we look at some of these people who are poor and we think, man, look at you. And the shame of it is that there are many poor people who are deciding to do this for a living. And we have to understand what poor is versus what con games are. And learn not to mock these people. Pray for them. And if they're on the streets and that is what they feel is their job, we need to pray for them, because that's not the right job. To be portraying yourself as a poor person needing money versus the industry of God's giftings to you. It's a tragedy. It's a travesty. So we shouldn't mock them, but we should pray for them. Okay. And he who is glad at calamity will not go unpunished. Okay. That's true. A rebuke goes deeper into a man of understanding than 100 blows into a fool. 100 blows into a fool. A rebuke. Have you ever rebuked someone or had someone rebuke you? Tell you what, if you've been rebuked, it don't feel good. You're like, you did what? You did what? You rebuked me. I should be rebuking you. Maybe you should, but the problem is that when you rebuke someone, that can hurt. But if you're wise, you'll say, hey, look, what am I getting out of this? Okay, what am I getting? You gotta understand. You gotta look within. Get insight within yourself. Okay. Let a man meet a she-bear robbed of her cubs, and that just conjures up great imagery. Okay, a she-bear. We've all seen and heard about how you try to take a cub away from the bear, and she's going to maul you. And here it is in the Bible, even, right? I don't know how old the Proverbs are. I need to look that up, but this is 3,000 years old, something like that. Rather than a fool his folly. Rather than a fool in his folly. Let a man meet a she-bear robbed of her cubs, rather than a fool. A fool will do more destruction, is what he's saying, than that bear, who has a just right to do that. The beginning of strife is like letting out water. So quit before the quarrel breaks out. This is an interesting one, and I called it out, and I don't understand the letting out of water. I suppose you have a water skin and someone's letting it out unnecessarily, okay? The beginning of strife, and then when you're in the desert, when you're in that real hot, arid area, you want to hold on to good water while you've got it. So let's just think of it that letting out of water is not good. Beginning of strife is like letting out water. So quit before the quarrel breaks out. So quit before the quarrel breaks out. We've got like the mosquito guy here who had just stopped right in front of my house. So quit before the quarrel breaks out. And then this one is just a command. It's like the beginning of strife is like, so he's like, so quit. So it's like he's saying, so you quit before the quarrel breaks out. So, we all really, there's, quarrel starts with two people, or so it should. And what, justified or not justified, it's telling you, quit, just quit to you. Isn't that interesting? Oh, it just makes a commandment there. Whoever restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has cool spirit is a man of understanding. Cool spirit is a man of understanding. I like that. It's like cool spirit, Even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. Now this is the big one at the end. When he closes his lips, he's deemed intelligent. And sometimes, wouldn't we just do ourselves a favor if we would simply do that? That one's huge. I'm gonna have to share that one out. Here, let's go read it and out. Better is a dry morsel with quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. A servant who deals wisely will rule over a son who acts shamefully, and will share the inheritance as one of the brothers. The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, and the Lord tests hearts. An evildoer listens to wicked lips, and a liar gives ear to a mischievous tongue. Whoever mocks the poor insults his maker. He who is glad at calamity will not go unpunished. Grandchildren are the crown of the aged, and the glory of the children is their fathers. Fine speech is not becoming a fool. Still less is false speech to a prince. A bribe is like a magic stone in the eyes of the one who gives it. Wherever he turns, he prospers. Whoever covers an offense seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates close friends. A rebuke goes deeper into a man of understanding than 100 blows to a fool. An evil man seeks only rebellion, and a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Let a man meet a she-bear robbed of her cubs, rather than a fool in his folly. If anyone returns evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is like letting out of water, so quit before the quarrel breaks out. He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous are both like an abomination to the Lord. Why should a fool have money in his hand to buy wisdom when he has no sense? A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. One who lacks sense gives a pledge and puts up security in the presence of his neighbor. Whoever loves transgression loves strife, and he who makes his door high seeks destruction. A man of crooked heart does not discover good, and one with a dishonest tongue falls into calamity. He who sires a fool gets himself sorrow, and the father of a fool has no joy. A joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. The wicked accepts a bribe in secret to pervert the ways of justice. The discerning sets his face towards wisdom, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her who bore him. To impose a fine on a righteous man is not good, nor to strike the noble for their uprightness. Whoever restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. Even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent.